So let me just make a few more. Okay, so right over here we have made a few more employees for our theoretical organization, and we have their name, their age, their salary, and then their ID. So if I were to execute this code again, and what it would do is it would generate an email for each of the employees. So we'd get the email for the first employee, the second employee, the third employee, and also the fourth employee. Run that. You can see here tim1@company.com, which is the name plus the ID, chad2@company.com, will3, and sparky4. So now you can see that we have multiple employees inside of a theoretical organization, and we can generate emails for each and every one of them. But let's say that you want to make sure that the employees are real, so we can do that as well. We'll just make a simple authenticate, and we'll pass in self as well as a password. And for this we need to make a password right over here. Password, make this e-password standing for employee, e-password, and we pass in self dot password is, we don't actually need to pass it in here. So let's say self.password is their ID, their name, plus their secretive data. So we do the string form of their ID plus their name plus their secretive data. And for this we actually need to move this down to here so it has access to the secretive data variable. So now we have made this password variable for our employees, and if you want to authenticate them, what we want to do is if self dot if e password is self dot password, then we'll print authenticated exclamation point. And if that is not the case, elif e password is not equal to self.password, then we print wrong password. So now we're using a variable which is passed to the function, right? If I run it, nothing I think would happen. Sec data is not defined. Where it is? Concatenate string, not integer. Okay. Okay, so those were just some basic syntaxing errors on my end. So now nothing is happening, right? We're generating the emails. But let's say we want to authenticate our employees, and for this example we'll authenticate employee 4 dot authenticate. So what would be employee 4's password? Well, let's just go up here. As we have said, is the ID. Password is the ID plus their name plus their secretive data. So before actually doing this, we need to print employees for secretive data because we don't know what it is, and we're not gonna sit here calculating that. It is 193914. So I'll just copy that So now we know employee 4's secret of data. And if we want to authenticate it, then we need to pass in his password, which is the ID. His ID is 4. And let's just make this a string to be super duper sure. So ID plus his name. So his name is Sparky. And then the secret of data right over here. So now this is the argument which we'll be passing into the authenticate function to see if we got it right. If I run the code, it says authenticated, and the reason it's showing this none here is because we're not returning anything, so don't worry about that for now. So here we can see we got the password right, and this authenticate function is working. It takes in the employee password, it checks if it's the same as their assigned password. If it is, authenticated. If it's not, then wrong password. So I hope that covered the basics of the Python classes. So if there's anything which you didn't understand, you can always email me or DM me on Twitter or Instagram, or just leave it in the comments below, and I would be able to see them and answer them at the earliest. So in the next video, I'll bring you the next step of Python classes and objects. Until then, thanks for watching. I've been Abir Rao. Peace.